We begin with a big number, 400 to 500. That is the Octa Research Group's projected number of additional COVID cases in Metro Manila per day by the end of June. Octa Research Fellow Dr. Guido David says the estimate is based on the latest trends of COVID-19 transmission in the region.
Let's now go to some actual numbers. 1,600 new COVID cases were reported last week across the country. This is a 30% increase from the nearly 1,300 new COVID cases recorded the week prior. Time for today's biggest headlines. I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Robbie Alampay. You're watching The Big Story. Early signs are pointing to a possible surge. In fact, according to Octa Research, there is now a weak surge in the National Capital Region.
The Health Department is even raising the possibility of Metro Manila reverting to Alert Level 2 should there be an uptick in hospital admissions. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro gives us a front seat to the big story.
While the uptick in COVID-19 cases is not yet a cause for concern, the Octa Research Group is flagging that the country is already experiencing a weak surge.
Yeah, we could already consider it a weak surge, but the concern is it might be getting stronger.
At the center of the surge is the National Capital Region. David noted an increase in the weekly average cases in Metro Manila from 86 to 131. The positivity rate, or the number of people testing positive for COVID-19, also increased from 2.2% to 2.7%. The Health Department has already floated the possibility of NCR going back to Alert Level 2.
At the minimum, baka kailanganin ng government na bawasan yung capacities sa public transportation or sa indoor establishments para lang at least lumuwag na konti.
Infectious diseases expert Dr. Ranjin Solante agrees. He even retracted his earlier call to lift the state of emergency, given the speedy rise in cases.
Let's prepare the healthcare system. We maintain the percentage of COVID rooms. Pangalawa, we need to strengthen the detection, the testing.
It's been almost 4 months since NCR was last placed under Alert Level 2. Back then, daily cases ranged from 1 to 2,000 nationwide. By next week, David foresees NCR to be at moderate risk. He projects daily cases to reach 500 by the end of the month and 3,000 nationwide.
We might escalate the alert level, like the Department of Health is saying, so that's possible. Pero we don't foresee a lockdown.
But Solante and David agreed on another point. Even if cases peak, the situation will still be manageable. Considering, however, that restrictions will be a blow to the economy, the experts have one reminder: 2 years after the pandemic, personal responsibility is a must. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro, we are One News.
Other provinces have started exploring post-pandemic scenarios. They're looking to Cebu's recent executive order making face masks optional in open spaces. Gretchen, what do we know about this?
Well, Robbie, the League of Provinces has started reviewing Cebu's maskless mandate. Quirino Governor and National Chairman of the League, Dakila Kua, says the country needs to prepare to go back to normal. And for now, they are reviewing possible policy adjustments when it comes to well-ventilated and spacious areas. To assure the public, Kua adds that their decision on masking will still be based on research and science.
Ano man tama yung data na magkaroon ng konting adjustments, no, dun sa mga outdoors na maluwag naman at hindi kumpul-kumpul ang tao.
These are the other big stories tonight. Apart from fare hikes, jeepney drivers are calling for additional buffers to soften the blow of the ever-rising cost of fuel, including the suspension of the excise taxes on fuel. After no driving, this time no flying. An immigration lookout bulletin order has been placed over the owner of the SUV that ran over a security guard in Mandaluyong. And the Golden State Warriors are on the verge of a 4th NBA title in 8 years. The highlights of Game 5 of the NBA Finals after the break.
watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. Several transport groups have staged a protest in Quezon City. This over what they say is the government's inaction to help them cope with soaring pump prices.
Apart from a fare hike, they are once again calling on government to suspend the excise taxes on oil. For the details, we have Mon Gualvez reporting to us live from EDSA. Mon, kumusta mga protest?
Gretchen, Robbie, several jeepney drivers and youth groups staged a protest in Philcoa, Quezon City this morning. And while provisional 1 peso fare increase in minimum fare in jeepneys has been approved, they say what they need is for minimum fare to be increased to 14 pesos. Jeepney drivers rattled plastic bottles filled with coins and lay down on the street to express their dismay over the supposed inaction of the government. They are pushing to junk the oil deregulation law and to have fuel excise taxes and VAT suspended.
Tayo ay may supply na 3261, kaya kahit anong galaw sa international market, dapat hindi siya automatic na gumagalaw dito sa ating bansa.
They also complain about the tedious process of availing the 6,500 peso fuel subsidy. Some drivers claim that they were not included in the list of beneficiaries even if they have legitimate franchises. Because of this, some drivers are planning to stop going on trips and return to their provinces.
Mga 96 lang, ayoko na. Saan gagawin mo? Tatanim na akong gulay. Bigay mo na ka? Oo. Total, tagulan na. Pwede na magtanim.
Transport Group Manibela is now appealing for a 12 to 14 peso minimum fare. LTFRB is scheduled to deliberate on the matter on June 28.
Mas mahirap po kung hindi po kami makakabiyahe at hindi po tayo makakapag-atid ng serbisyo sa kanila kung kulang po yung aming kinakargang diesel.
Higher pump prices has also affected vehicle volume in major thoroughfares. In EDSA alone, more than 6% of the normal vehicle volume had been slashed.
Ini-expect namin na mas mababawasan pa yan dahil nga from June 9 hanggang ngayon ay malaki pa rin yung itinaas ng presyo ng petrolyo.
Gretchen, Robbie, the MMDA clarifies that what they monitored on the decrease in volume of vehicles traversing EDSA is actually seen all throughout the day except only during late afternoon until early evening rush hour or for those who are going home from work, just like what you are seeing right now here in EDSA Reliance, wherein behind me are southbound vehicles or those going to Makati and Pasay that are experiencing right now a light to moderate traffic, which is very, very similar situation on the northbound motorists or those going or heading to Pasig and Quezon City. That's why MMDA says that they have no plans in expanding the number coding scheme that is in current effect from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. during weekdays. Gretchen, Robbie.
Well, we definitely hope our jeepney and bus drivers will get a reprieve. That was Mon Gualvez reporting to us live. The spike in fuel costs is also prompting consumers to limit their budget for groceries, further hurting the income of vendors in public markets. Mobile journalist King Senko with the story.
As pump prices soar, cost of basic goods are also going to the roof. Here in Bicutan Market, fresh goods are not spared from the increase. From 110 pesos, a kilo of tilapia now costs 140 to 160 pesos. Boneless bangus meanwhile now costs up to 200 pesos from 130 pesos previously, while kasim increased by 40 pesos from just 200 pesos per kilo before. Vendors say they had to increase prices as fuel jacks up delivery cost, further eating on their income.
Isang araw, umabot din ng around 150. Ngayon, umabot na lang ng around 90,000, 80,000. Laki yung binawas.
As for consumers, the price increases means a smaller budget. Tatay Virgilio, who has been a vendor since the 1980s, noticed that his frequent customers are buying fewer items.
Yung mga tao, binibili lang yung talagang yung essential na kailangan nila eh. Hindi katulad nung walang pandemya.
Hindi na masyado nag-i-stock ngayon kasi binabudget lang yung pera. Hindi na masyadong, hindi kagaya dati. Halos mapuno ang mga nila rep.
But some vendors are still grateful as some customers still buy in bulk. Meanwhile, the Trade Department advises consumers to buy in grocery stores and supermarkets to ensure that items are covered by the suggested retail price.
The Justice Department has issued an immigration lookout bulletin order against the SUV driver who figured in the viral hit and run in Mandaluyong. The order requires immigration officials to inform the Justice Secretary should supposed car owner Jose Antonio San Vicente makes any attempt to leave the Philippines. As of now, a complaint for frustrated murder and abandonment of one's victim has been filed against San Vicente with the Office of the City Prosecutor in Mandaluyong.
For the big story in sports, the Golden State Warriors are just one victory away from winning their first NBA title since 2018. This was after they defended their home floor in a 104-94 victory over the Boston Celtics in Game 5. Stephen Curry had an off night, finishing with just 16 points and 8 assists. But it was Andrew Wiggins who delivered the biggest game yet in his 8-year career with 26 points and 13 rebounds, who carried the Dubs. Game 6 is set for Friday at the TD Garden, where the Warriors will look to close out the series and take their 4th NBA title in 8 seasons back to the Bay. Time for another quick break. When we return, security preparations are underway for Vice President-elect Sara Duterte's early inauguration on June 19. If you're looking to attend, we give you a list of things that are prohibited during the event. And a teacher from Pisay comes out of retirement to come to the aid of his students in his barangay. These big stories after the break.
Watching the big story, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Hall. As early as Friday, major streets downtown Davao City will be closed off to motorists.
Authorities are preparing for the inauguration of Vice President-elect Sara Duterte on June 19. Jem Avancenia with the details.
It's all systems go for the oath-taking of Vice President-elect Sara Duterte in Davao City come June 19. The Davao City Police Office said they are expecting more or less 20,000 attendees. To ensure security, they will be deploying personnel in different task units.
Sa DCPO lang, sa amin lang, sa Davao City Police Office, mayroon kaming deployment na more or less 1,150 personnel. Kasali na yung mga hindi natin nakikita. Yung mga intelligence personnel natin naka-deploy, yung mga ano natin na nasa mga building.
Lupa said that aside from the usual prohibited objects, hooded jackets, pentel pens, and umbrellas will not be allowed in the area.
Nandoon pa rin yung ating implementation ng IETF protocol natin. Everybody is directed to wear their face mask. Kasi we are also anticipating na magkaroon ng mga rally-rally. Then baka mamaya may mga susulpot doon. Kaya tinitingnan din natin kung may magdala-dala ng mga pentel pen o mga papel, mga kartulina ng ganon, we might as well consider it na ipagbawal na rin natin.
VP-elect Sara Duterte will take her oath here at the center of San Pedro and Bolton streets on June 19. But before that, Duterte together with her family and other visitors will attend a mass in San Pedro Cathedral. In her radio program, incoming VP said that there will be 4 designated entry points for those who want to witness the ceremony. City Traffic Management Office will be conducting rerouting in the downtown area as some major streets will be closed off starting Friday afternoon. Aside from free transportation, attendees will also be provided with free snacks and water. Inday Sara also confirmed the attendance of former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and her father, outgoing President Rodrigo Duterte. President-elect Bongbong Marcos is also expected to grace the event. Outgoing VP Leni Robredo, on the other hand, cannot make it as she has to attend another event in Naga. For News 5, Jem Avancenia, we are One News.
Let's get back to the matter of COVID. We circle back to our top story with the reported uptick in infections in NCR. Is that already being felt in COVID admissions in some hospitals in the metro? That big question and more with Dr. Jose De Grano, President of the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines. Dr. De Grano, welcome once again to the big story.
Yes, good evening, Robbie and Gretchen.
Yes, sir. I mean, experts in the DOH are monitoring what they're calling a weak surge. What does that mean for hospitals on the ground? Ano pong nakikita nyo?
Well, actually, right now we're monitoring the situation because even if there is really an increase, in the number of cases, even the daily number of cases, we are seeing that the number of COVID admissions is really not that much. It's really still manageable. So that means that there are not many admissions for COVID cases. That we are seeing right now. Yeah.
Okay, pero ito po yung sa COVID wards and sa COVID admissions, but we understand that hospitals are also mindful of a surge in non-COVID cases ngayong nagbukas ng ang traffic and mobility ng mga tao. Totoo po ba to?
Yes, that's what we are observing right now. Biglang tumaas yung cases natin ng non-COVID. And actually, the hospitals are almost full, because there are really cases of complicated, siguro, yung mga dating mga with comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, asthma, cancer, and other diseases na right now siguro, after 2 years of non-close monitoring, ay ngayon nila naramdaman yung complications. So that's why they're now admitted and they are closely monitored by their doctors.
So, but what does that mean? Again, let's revert back specifically to the COVID wards. What does that mean kung magkaroon ng surge pagkatapos puno ang hospitals through with non-COVID cases? Are the COVID wards still ready? Is everything still in place?
Yeah. Yes, the COVID wards are actually separated from the non-COVID wards. And they are prepared or ready anytime po na nagkaroon tayo ng surge in cases of COVID. The only problem that we might encounter is the number of nurses and the healthcare workers. Yun po.
Okay, maraming salamat po. That was Dr. Jose De Grano, President of the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines. In other news, 2021 turned out to be a banner year for PLDT, the country's largest telco. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez breaks down the numbers.
"2021 was a record-breaking year for PLDT. At its annual stockholders meeting, PLDT executives talked about ending the prior year with an all-time high revenue of 182.1 billion pesos despite lingering challenges from the pandemic.
PLDT home subscribers base growth of 30% as we exceeded targets and connected over 1.1 million new fiber customers. With nearly 3 million total fixed broadband subscribers,
the company enjoyed strong growth across the board, particularly in its fiber-to-home and broadband businesses. Meanwhile, PLDT's Voyager, the parent of fintech app Maya, attained what they call Unicorn Plus status, meaning it's valued at more than $1 billion now.
Voyager successfully raised $210 million in new funds to expand the financial services ecosystem of Maya. The company will use the new funds to launch Maya Bank services such as savings and credit.
Maya now has over 63,000 centers in various communities for people to cash in and out, send money, and make payments. Panlilio was asked about the impact of the amendments to the Public Service Act, which now allow 100% foreign ownership of telcos.
It doesn't change our North Star. I think at the end of the day, it will be a customer choice who offers them the best service, and that's what we aim for.
The publicly listed telco is aiming for single-digit growth this year. Although the economy has reopened, it now says it's facing new challenges such as rising inflation. There's also increased competition by the entry of Elon Musk's satellite company, but Panlilio says they remain unfazed.
Our goal has been to drive PLDT to further success as a customer-centric and leading-edge technology.
Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
Teaching and learning goes beyond the classroom.
Despite having already been retired, a teacher from Pisay, or the Philippine Science High School, decided to teach once more after a request from a child. Teacher Delfin Angeles has been teaching Pisay scholars for more than 3 decades. He previously taught integrated science and physics and now has been called again to be a teacher to the little ones in his barangay.
Teacher Delfin calls it Eskwelahang Munti. This work of his started in March. Since then, he spent time with the children almost every day. Angeles teaches a variety of subjects to children who have not been able to attend school for almost 2 years due to the pandemic. The most important subject for him? Good manners.
This story, I think, just highlights, our silent heroes throughout the pandemic. Not just teachers, also nurses, as Dr. Delgado mentioned a while ago.
At saka talagang, di ba, good manners. The manner of helping. Obviously, this is a teacher that has really internalized that and is living that. Talagang saludo tayo sa kanya.
Sana mas marami pang teachers who will come out of retirement to teach good manners.
I'm sure there are a lot. I mean, that's what's part of what makes this work fulfilling, di ba? Na highlighting a lot of these modest, humble people. I'm sure hindi nag-iisa yung storya. Maraming storyang ganyan.
And may we see more stories of that. That wraps up today's Big Story. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250.
Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Mask on.
Wash hands.
And get vaccinated, Philippines. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. We are One News. Have a good evening.